All right, we are back for another day of live streaming. So this will be a shorter one tonight. I was doing some filming earlier, just now. I had to wait until dark to do it, and I have to go to bed early tonight because I have to get up early tomorrow. But otherwise, let's continue with the theme. So I'm in between some projects right now. This is an experiment I've been doing, streaming every day for a while, and I've been inviting super chats if you want to vote on that next type of content that you want to see me focus on. Here's the list of things I've been thinking about, and other than that, I will continue with the work I left off on last night, which was work on the block mining simulation game. Let's see. Bradley wins for being first. Well, you've been a member for a year. It's already been 1 year since I started doing memberships. Odessa Reader says hello. DevOps says, hey bro, how's it going? Good to see you as well. All right, let's test it. It compiles. Push some new changes today. Hey, Rav says, hey, what's up? Not too much, just working on the block mining simulation game. I probably won't get too much done tonight, but I'll try to do a little bit. Been busy procrastinating recently, getting nothing done. Classic Zoomer mentality. One strategy for getting things done is you can procrastinate your work with other work. You just make a list of all the things that definitely need to be completed, and then instead of doing the thing you don't want to do some other fun thing on the list. Whatever you can do to, chip away your list of outstanding things. All right, this looks like it's working. Love from India. Must be morning over there by now. I've been doing some of that here and there, working on vehicle of mine instead of studying. Well, as long as it's the trick there is as long as it's as long as it's work that you necessarily will have to do at some point. Because if it's because there's some projects where you can work on it. You can invent an infinite number of things to do, and you can feel productive, kind of like in Minecraft. There's always an infinite number of things to do in Minecraft or in the block mining simulation game. You're doing work by mining blocks, but is it really does it move the needle much? Graphics can be only sprites for ASCII 2. Right now the graphics are only characters you can print in the terminal. So ASCII characters, if you're in interface like this, or if you like a restricted graphics mode, you can also just do like pure ASCII. Sort of half and half. Proceeding on DIY project that can potentially have infinite scope. Yeah, that's the thing. It's those DIY projects. It's easy to expand that. In my experience, I find once I get working on something, it's difficult to. It's hard to start working on something, but once you get into it, then I don't want to stop. Like actually, after working on this block mining game every day, I think it was kind of hard to get started the first few streams, but now that I've like got this momentum up of doing it every day, like I've already done it for 20 days consecutive, so I can't. I was busy doing something else, and it's kind of late tonight, but I can't do nothing tonight. I got to do something, and then if I work on it 5 minutes, then I'll be oh man, I got to go to bed. I want to work until 3 a.m. Let's see. So I was converting. Historically, I had for every frame there was a state, and then there's a thread and a thread state class, and I've been kind of changing it so you can just have one ID and map it to both. Time to roll your own CUDA kernels. I could, but there's too many softwares to write. When's the last time you had an energy drink? I caved and bought one today. Actually, for a while I was having those during streams, but then I decided it's like, it's not worth it. I should probably like develop the ability to stream for long periods without them. And I think I have just kind of gotten used to it. Is the title a clickbait? Nope. That's the real plan. I just need someone to do one big super chat of around $12 billion. That'll get me started. For me, it's something like a mood center to get me in the mindset of working on things. Yeah, I've had them during school. Like it was a kind of meme to stay up late, and then someone would say, "Hey, let's get an energy drink," and then we get an energy drink, but then we'd stay up late, but then not work and get distracted. I drank energy drink to study a whole night for the morning exam, which went well. But I slept 1 hour through my afternoon exam. That's not good. Yeah, it's I mean, I guess when you're young enough, I don't know. I found past like my early 20s, trying to push. It was in university I discovered my like physiological limitations. Like when I discovered coffee, I was like, wow, this is amazing. You just drink tons of coffee, and there's no downsides. Energy drinks give me sleep paralysis. Interesting. I'll have sleep paralysis and then the paranoia that comes with it. There was what's his name? Chubby Emu he has an interesting video about his own experiences with energy drinks. There's apparently some like what was it? Oh, I think it was when he started having energy drinks. Yeah, he couldn't sleep or something. He had an insomnia, and then he started drinking energy drinks, and it helped him sleep. So there's some kind of interesting medical chemistry thing going on there with some amino acid he didn't have. Not me, because I see Satan on my bed. That's not good. Sometimes on occasion, with daydreaming really hard. I'll hallucinate really bad. I actually stopped panicking whenever it happens. I can tell it's sector of my brain with garbage data. Oh, that's unfortunate. There's another YouTuber, I think who said he has, I think it's sleep paralysis. I think some ordinary gamers, he has like some kind of sleep issue. For me, I have to take a second, focus in on whatever it is. If it can't be focused on or morph, it's not real. Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't know if that's medication you can get for that. Or I guess if it's only with the sleep paralysis. My sleep paralysis sometimes have vivid audio parts like speech and door knocking. Sometimes when I'm falling asleep, I get I like think I heard something, like a loud noise or something, and it'll wake me up. I often wake myself up when I'm falling asleep. Had near-death experiences. It's a completely different sensation. Yeah, that's pretty intense, I guess. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, I don't know, Bradley. I don't have any advice for you on. How much fun should we be looking for? About 12 billion. Hey, Margaret, I'm a mature student. I was wondering, how did you get into Waterloo? Did you go to high school? I'm lacking grade 12 calculus. My average is low 90s. So my grades in high school were terrible. But I actually went in as a mature student. So I took a couple years off to after high school, I failed some classes in high school, and then I actually went back, and then I took off. I was actually out for 4 years, so I worked a little bit full time at just like a minimum wage job, and then after that, I applied, and they initially denied me, and then they suggested I do these pre-university courses. So I did. It was like a distance education thing. But then actually, after that, after I did the pre-university courses that they recommended, which I actually did good in them. I got like some 90s. I was kind of slow in getting them done. They actually rejected me again. Or they didn't really reject me at first. They just said, we recommend you do these courses first through this like distance ed self-study course. They were supposed to be like a refresher of high school, but I found they were like completely new material. And then so I did those, and they initially denied me, and then my father insisted me give them a call to the university and ask them like why they denied me. So then I actually got put on a waiting list. I got put on a waiting list for software engineering. And then they said, we will grant you admission under, conditional on whatever. So it was actually never even super clear that I got in. I just kind of showed up and went to class, and nobody said anything, and then I graduated. It's all good. Just when I'm sleep deprived or have an imbalance due to diet, vitamin deficiency stress. Well, that's good. If you're, I can't imagine what it would be like to have to deal with that stuff all the time if you had to, or even. Are you familiar with some ordinary gamers? He talked about he has like some kind of sleep paralysis issue, or like he has night terrors or something like that. I don't know if that's similar to what you've got. Rockpool Hassan Ridoy says, I am from Bangladesh. How's it going? Hello from Canada. Your father sounds like a nice dude. Yep, he is. Same. Here I came to Canada at age 17. Graduated back in 2016 when I was 20. I worked for the past 10 years, minimum wage job. Just thinking about going back to school. Yeah, if you're just doing minimum wage, it's probably not a terrible idea. I don't know. I'd say it probably makes sense to like survey the job market. I don't know, like if you do a 4-year degree. The other thing is like if you do software engineering or something, there's kind of an expiry date. Like if you're older, I think it's kind of a harsh reality that like companies don't want to hire older workers, mainly because if you hire someone who's younger, it's just easier to like squeeze work out of them, and they're like less confident and more they're less confident in their abilities and more more likely to try and prove themselves really hard. I dealt with it for a long time when I was younger. after puberty due to stressful life. Very familiar and not scared of a lot of things anymore. Well, it's good that it's something you're getting over. I'm from Freedom Land. Presumably the United States of America. How do you feel about Canadian healthcare system? A lot of Americans are jealous of it, but most Canadians I've spoken to think it isn't great. I think the Canadian, I do not have a family doctor, and I have not been to a doctor in probably over 10 years or so. And I have no faith in the medical system at all. I think it's like, it can be very hit and miss. Like there are doctors that exist who will help you, but I think a very frequent experience is I don't know, our whole system seems to be in chaos. There's it kind of seems like there's they severely limit the amount of people who are allowed to become doctors. So there's constantly this annoying issue with my nose with my eustachian tube. And I would like to go to a doctor and have it fixed, but I looked into it, and it's like it's going to be years on a waiting list to even talk to a specialist. And I went to there's a free health clinic or something. I went to them a couple times, and they just instead of recommending me to a specialist or something, they just give me a prescription for this thing I squirt in my nose. And I thought it would clear it up, first few times. But then I went back to the pharmacist, and he's like, "Oh no, some people take this for the rest of their lives, but it doesn't even fix my problem, and it's actually expensive. It's $100 a month for this thing I squirt in my nose." And it's a stimulant too. And I told him this thing makes my heart race when I first started taking it. And it's like, "Oh no, it's not a stimulant," and but I don't believe him. So anyway, I took that. It's prescribed for 6 months, and it didn't fix my problem. And there's random people die in waiting rooms and stuff. If you Google for that, about people dying in waiting rooms randomly. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it's not uncommon. This is true in any industry, but I'm not getting any younger. Yeah, I don't know. Trades seems like I don't know if trades would be maybe a better return on investment thing to go into, but I would, to me, I think it's I would research it at this point, especially if you're looking for the fastest way to increase your income. Because going into software, I feel like people graduating software right now, I think are in a really tough position. Prescribe veterinarian to perform your healthcare. Is the forefathers intended? Actually, something I've found out recently is apparently private equity firms are buying up all of the pet clinics, and if you want to take your pet to a clinic, they're all owned by private equity, and they're super, super terrible. And there's some I know someone whose cat was sick, and they tried to find an emergency vet, and they're all had really, really terrible reviews and just extremely terrible service, and they don't care about the pets at all. And some of the pets just specialize in putting animals down, and it's it really, I think it's the days of super careful, heartwarming veterinarian is possibly coming to an end. Limited seats. I guess in what context? Oh, for doctors, yeah. How goes the world domination? It's going. I guess I'm getting distracted in my chat right now. My mother spent about $600 just yesterday on our cat. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to. People care about their pets, and they'll pay anything if you tell them they have to. So I think that's one area that's ripe for private equity. So soon, private equity will own all of the veterinary clinics, and you'll have to pay a ransom to get your pets back. Doctors here are higher paid government workers, so we're in demand of doctors in Canada. Our government doesn't want to expand, even though we took more than 10 million people in the past 10. Yeah, I've also I know someone who was able to get a family doctor, and the family doctor was like a very recent immigrant who I think got their medical degree in a different country, and they administered some shots wrong, and then this person they said their medical license expired, and then they were not available as a doctor anymore. So I'm kind of wondering if there was some malpractice thing and they got their doctor license revoked. Is private equity the ICE 9 of goods and services? Everything just becomes it. ICE 9. I'm not sure I'm not familiar with that term, but it may. I think my guess is that we will actually see a lot more news in the future of private equity, destroying society. I was a nursing student before, but I did works a lot as a personal support worker. Over here, you have to follow regulation. Fictional allotrope of water that's solid above room temperature. I guess I can understand that statement. Fictional allotrope of water that's solid above room temperature, but I guess I don't quite follow how everything. Is there a meme about everything becoming ICE 9? All right, let's try to do some work. Can you suggest to me a good gaming laptop? No, that's not my expertise. I'd probably, if I was looking, looking for information, I just check Linus Tech Tips and then see what's the latest. Anyone heard of a caffeine nap? It's where you drink coffee or an energy drink, start a 30-minute nap, then you wake up and are ultra refreshed. I have heard of those. I think those are common in Spain, if I remember correctly. It was a flawed joke. Only all water would become ice-9. I learned something. At least I learned that there's a fictional allotrope of water. I never heard of that before. Can you suggest to me a good gaming laptop? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is actually some undiscovered island of stability of solid water. It reminds me of I think it's, what is it, metallic hydrogen or something? There's at extremely high temperatures and pressures, you can turn hydrogen. There's like a metal form of hydrogen. I think at the center of Jupiter there's that exists apparently, theoretically. You see, best practices and guidelines are published and funded by pharma. Healthcare workers, at the end of the day, follow best practices. Yeah, I think that's becoming an increasing problem. There's a lot of incentive to game that system. At least we found room temperature. Ice trapped inside diamond. That's kind of cheating, though. There's another interesting what is it? I don't know if it's an allotrope. You can have like red oxygen. So, what's it called? Like singlet oxygen or something. Framework laptops are pretty nice. I never bought one of those, but it would be on my list to get one. Nice, we got our super chat. Made you look. You got me. Thank you for the $2 to Electro Spectre. You're on trading in my server. I don't know what that means. See it? Hi, you're on trading in my server. Not sure what that means. I second the question, what server? Teach me how to hack. Teach me how to hack. You could just ask AI. Doctors are initiated to give the latest medication or treatment by Big Pharma. Usually comes with higher price tags, so they claim through insurance. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that stuff vetted publicly in the U.S. right now. I hope the whole system gets improved. And congrats to Bradley for the 13-month membership. Where are you from? I am from Canada. Maple syrup land. USA with metric units. I think we have more differences than that. Also, it's seen in Canada too. Antibiotics used to be covered by CHIP, but recently not covered anymore. Majority of antibiotics, and you see price tags tripled in the past 4 years. Yeah, I think we're just like another kind of mini version of a lot of what's going on in the US. Can we just make underground markets legal now? Yeah, I mean, the whole healthcare thing is, it's such a big debate. Like, some of that stuff is getting aired right now. There's lots of public debate and discussion on it. I don't have a lot of particular insight on it. Bro, if you dominate the entire world, you can make healthcare free. What I would do is I would make it legal to become a doctor. And then I would make it so that there is a financial system to incentivize good doctors and nurses. So right now it seems like there's that one famous like influencer doctor, and he has all these skits about how basically doctors work for insurance companies, and like ultimately the boss of a doctor is the insurance company because they dictate whether you can actually do the surgery or not. And he has some like incredibly amusing skits about he even what was that controversial healthcare company where the CEO got assassinated. He was talking about them and how terrible they are, even like before all that stuff happened. United Healthcare. And then he was, and then apparently, and now apparently, like United Healthcare is suing people for like defamation and like trying to intimidate people and stuff. Oh, nice. We got a super chat. Throwing money at the wall is fun. That's very, very generous of you. Although, make sure you're in good financial state yourself. You've been quite generous. You don't want to be too liberal with your money. Wait until you get your big 6-figure tech job. Get a job at the next NVIDIA, and then take that stock option offer that I didn't. Healthcare is so bad here. My Uncle Jack had to make us COVID elixir in the bathtub. Never forget. Jack Mehoff was a great man. COVID elixir in the bathtub. I hope that's a joke. Wow, what's going on with all the getting crazy super chats everywhere tonight? Gotta pay those big tech sins. Glad to see you still dominating. Thank you guys for the contributions. Nice, we're already at 19 Canadian dollars for the stream, and this will have to be a much shorter stream today. I'm counting on it being at least 7 figures. That's the spirit. I used to work with this ex-nurse. She got her license taken since she saved a child from choking by performing tracheectomy, and closest hospital was 40 minutes away. What she did based on the ethics was immoral. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea to actually comment. I'd have to know what all the rules are, but I mean, stuff like that. I would imagine there's like there's probably like borderline, criminal stuff that goes on. And I think now the stuff that goes on in nursing homes and stuff now, like the standards have gone down so much, like ethical standards, and the world is going to go through growing pains in a big way. Tracheectomy is a last resort. Yeah, that's well, at least it's a bit of a consolation to know that she did the right thing. But unfortunate that doing the right thing results in losing her license. Yeah, I guess tracheectomy, I would assume that's like where they like go into your throat. I think that I'm not 100% sure, but I assume that's like not that's not necessarily life-threatening if you do it correctly. I don't know, maybe that was the unknown about it. It was sarcasms. I mean, you can't define it based on moral. I mean, she saved a life, but the cost of a license. I mean, she's a nurse doing it on a daily basis. Depends, assuming she's in the ER, and she was. What it's not telling you is she had done the procedure on the wrong kid. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll have to assume that it was she did things right. Although, like with our standards lowering, I know there's apparently there's that was medical doctor I was talking about. He was saying that there was a doctor somewhere that I forget he mixed up the organs. I think he took out he was supposed to take out like a spleen or something, but he took out the person's liver or something. Or he took out, like, he was supposed to take out a different organ that was like an optional organ, and he took out a vital organ, and then the patient died, obviously. And it was and the organ he took out was on a different side of the body, so it was kind of like a comically bad mistake to make. And it's amazing that people like that can become doctors now. And healthcare still costs even more than it ever has. You're supposed to do CPR first, then tube bypass, then tracheectomy. Tracheectomy leaves permanent damage that cannot be fixed most of the time. It leaves a stoma in the throat. Oh, okay. Just the counter argument, she didn't have proper tools. Yeah, I don't know. I can't debate it. I'm not a medical professional. I don't know the details, but we'll take their word for it. I could imagine either extreme, that it was someone incompetent or someone who's made a good judgment call but was punished for it. Kid was unconscious from choking. Yeah, I'd assume at that point, if you're like unconscious and turning blue, anything you can do is an improvement. This cannot have Good Samaritan laws? Not sure, not an expert on that. Yeah, as for the medical ethics of that, you guys feel free to debate it. I don't know. Okay, that might compile. Canada does have Good Samaritan laws. I'll take your word for it. I don't know anything about it. Oh yeah, that makes sense. taken first aid many times. Well, it's good to know that we have good Samaritan laws. Unfortunately, the most common accidents in my area are almost always fatal. Car accidents, high-speed roads everywhere. Back to reality, what does your personal computing setup look like? I know you have a streaming machine and personal, but with home lab and such, I imagine you are well set up given your experience. I'm not set up as well as I want. I would like to have more hardware. So I have for my data storage solution, you can look up my video on the ZFS file system. And then other than that, I have a ThinkPad that the ThinkPad with the fan that I just had to replace. Other than that, I went through a phase where I started doing a lot more like embedded system stuff. So I have a fairly large assortment of like Arduinos and stuff like that. And it had always been on my my ambition to do more projects like that, and I had some ideas to like make some new hardware products and stuff, but the time and investment that's required and like getting money, like I could make it. I experimented with some little like Kickstarter projects and stuff, and I was able to get a little bit of revenue, but there was nothing. It was not really the kind of win on building revenue and growth and stuff, but it's on my to-do list to go back and like just kind of use some of the components I have, maybe make some shorts videos out of them or something. I think it might be an easy thing to do. I can just like take some stuff and write some basic script and have like put it on like one of those rotating platforms and just talk about what the component is or something. I don't know, but it's still I'm already working on a shorts video that hopefully I'll finish it this week or so. Juba Al-Sawi. Hey, Brokey, build something to make money, please. Sure. No problem. Are you still using ZFS on a Pi for NFS, or was that just for content? How do you store high-res video content? Yeah, I still actually do use. So I just have it running on a Raspberry Pi 3. That was incredibly slow, so I upgraded to. I also had a Raspberry Pi 4, so I do still use that solution. Actually, it's it just works. It's still like it's not ideal, but until I get tons of money and I can build a like solid state drive, until I can just buy better hardware, this works for now. I can simplify this. This might work. Quick question, have you heard of a calzone? Yes, someone in chat mentioned that previously. I'm now familiar with calzones. Interesting, so you just ingest the ZFS slowly, keep a local copy, edit with Kden Live, and then save Kden project on NFS. Interesting that it performs as its duties. Any dead drives? No, actually. Despite the fact that I have quite a bit of redundancy on it. Yeah, it's I've also after checking stuff and checking drive health and stuff, I found so I did have a drive that was failing. Actually, I have a video on this. I think it's called, I think my hard drive is failing. It's on the system CTL command. So if you are interested, you can watch that one. And I went through trying to I had some pending sectors that showed up, and I tried to debug that and identify them. For that drive, I actually, for fun, I put it in a machine I have, and I ran bad blocks on it every single day, after that point for a year, and it's on my to-do list to go back and analyze the data and stuff. And what I noticed is after it started throwing pending sectors, it spuriously threw pending sectors, and then there were a few days where I would write to data and it would totally lose all the data, and then the next day I would do bad blocks again and it would be fine. And so it made me think more about hard drive failure mechanisms. So I actually think what maybe happens is there's maybe some play in the spindle that moves back and forth. There's maybe some there's some small adjustment or play that develops in the movement head, and or maybe it gets some resistance. But then what happens is, because it's just it's a physical media, it's if you're storing if you're using a stick to dig in the mud or something like that, but then you go back to read at the location, but you can't, your head is just kind of off a little bit. If you have a one-time seize up on it or change, suddenly every single read is going to be a failure. But then if you do a write, that's successful, because a write and then a read back, it likely would be successful for that failure mechanism. And I noticed it slowly started taking more and more time to do stuff, and it would experience total drive failures more and more often, until it got to a point where it would not even. I think what happened at some point is probably the bearings seized up, and then it started pulling too much current, and then it actually kind of messed up when it actually failed. It messed up the USB controller or something, so I had to reboot the machine, because it wouldn't recognize any of my drives for a bit, and then after that it wouldn't appear. But yeah, it basically I use it for archival storage, so I just load stuff onto the pool, and I keep it off basically all the time. So I have I have probably a few gigs of I've got maybe 4 gigs of storage that's online, and then when I start running out of space, I just push stuff onto the pool. And it is quite slow. It's to do a scrub or something, it takes 2 days. And in terms of other issues, I have gotten a couple read errors. Mostly the read errors are read timeout errors. So it'll query one of the drives, and then the drive takes longer than 30 seconds to respond. It's kind of amazing that sometimes that it can actually take that long for a read. Also on modern drives, there's a small cache on the board, 64 megs block of cache. I just looked it up. The Pi 4 actually has ECC memory. Oh, I didn't know that. In machining terminology, this hysteresis cause. Oh, okay. The hysteresis caused by read head would be caused by backlash. Yeah, I don't have the expertise in that field to confidently use that terminology, but it's probably, yeah, a hysteresis is probably the right way to describe it. It's interesting that Pi 4 actually has ECC memory. The Raspberry Pi is a very incredible piece of equipment. I think a lot of the credit goes to the Broadcom chip that's on those things. All right. That's looking like it works. I've had some weird behavior happen with adapters and hubs before. Yeah, my perception of USB hubs and stuff is they're pretty, like anything consumer is not very, it's you get what you pay for kind of thing. I think a lot of the issues that come down to like USB stuff and like crappy consumer things are to do with power. Like there's even some USB hubs and stuff that they like basically they work fine if you use like a mouse on them or something, but if you use like multiple devices that actually pull a lot of power, that require a lot of current, and like the max spec they're actually allowed to have that should technically work, you'll get like voltage sags and stuff, and they don't properly compensate for that stuff. I have the Pi 5. Pi 4 has ECC, but Pi 5 does not. That's weird. I use ButterFS, which does not require it. Oh yeah, actually, I have ZFS on a couple machines that don't have ECC. Actually, I've been meaning to do an experiment, which I think would be, I think it'd be good Linux technical content. It probably wouldn't get wide views, but I have a machine where I have a known bad stick of RAM, and I have a ZFS pool on that machine, and I've been wondering, like it's basically a backup. I'd be interested to know what'll happen to the data if I do a scrub on that machine without ECC memory and known bad memory. Something will happen. Consumer drives also lie, saying data is fully written when it's just cached. Yeah. Yeah, so basically like the only way to trust a write is do a write and then do a power cycle and then read the data. completely tweaking off the small sip of energy drink. That's the issue with energy drinks. You get energy, but I find it's often that you get that energy, but you're not using it constructively. Damien Torres says, "Hello, friend. How's it going?" ECC is used for detecting bit flips during write. I guess there's a lot of cases where there's a lot of failure modes where ECC can be useful. Butterfrest uses a different software mechanism. If you're interested in the concept of bit flips, I have a... How long is that video? I think it's 25 minutes or something. If you've seen my video on what causes bit flips in memory. Wow. 999. Godspeed, my friend. I think your videos touch something in the collective unconscious that we all relate to. Thank you very much. To Damien Tor for the $9.99. And that's US dollars, so we're at $33 tonight. That's interesting. I didn't expect to have such a turnout tonight. This will have to be a shorter stream. I'll probably have to log off here soon. I have to get up early tomorrow. But I did one small piece of coding. Wow. Don't forget to eat a good breakfast. I have to forget to eat a good breakfast because I'm going to the dentist tomorrow. So breakfast is off limits. But thank you. I'll spend that on lunch. I'll go get some delicious fast food from there's a McDonald's right beside there. Butterfest writes the two different sectors and compares result to original. This would be far too resource intensive with ZFS, as it's not optimized for SSD, whereas Butterfest is. Yeah, I made a choice about should I use Butterfs or ZFS, and I did a bunch of Googling and I watched some talks by like developers who work on the projects, and I found that in videos where in videos about people developing ZFS, I find they consistently talked about the data integrity and redundancy and making sure the data is not lost, and everything to do with Butterfs. They seem to emphasize efficiency and performance more, but for my case, I just want this safest, most durable. I'm basically just using it as a backup solution. So I made the conclusion that ZFS seems to be the one to go for. Read 5 had an issue during development that forever hurt the image of Butterfs. Yeah, I think there's also in ZFS 2. Or last time I looked, there was an issue with like deduping or something like that, where it said it was broken beyond belief. But I think that stuff is getting a lot better now. It's actually getting a lot more mainstream attention. Meta uses Butterfs for everything. Interesting. Oh, okay. If Meta uses it, then it would have to be reasonably stable. See you later. Hopefully more people contribute to our World Domination Fund. Yeah, this is thank you everyone who contributed tonight. This is an unexpectedly high turnout. But anyway, I gotta go for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. Later.